nyika yeuranda kuzokera Ijipita chikaba cheuchi ona nyika yeuranda vana veZimbabwe kuzokera Ijipita weuranda daneta taramba kudzokera Ijipita vana veZimbabwe taramba kudzokera Ijipita nyika yeuranda taramba kudzokera Ijipita vana veZimbabwe kudzokera Ijipita nyika yeuranda sekuru bigi sekuru bigi charedzera hanzi wawa zviri sei kule muri sei kupewa zviri sei mwana wamai regai nditi maZimbabweans maswera sei vana veZimbabwe. I'm looking at things. Where to Zimbabwe? Where to now? Our Zimbabwe. Where to now? Kibiziri say, where to Zimbabwe? As a country, where to? Ndatenda atete flow regai nditende katatu kasingaperi pachipostori naye atete ileni zviri sei chama uri sei mwana wamai. Saka mubvunzo wangu ndowandiri kukumbira kuda kuziva kune vanhu veZimbabwe. Atete Mas, how are you? Mbokumbira kubvunza vanhu veZimbabwe kuti ndakauya nezuro. I made a presentation on the death of 𝗭𝗕𝗪𝗘 as requested by Zimbabweans. I used to avoid the topic because of some emotions that are accompanied by the discussions. But everything that I've done, everything that I've said, zviri sei zvandakataura zvese ndiri kutaura 2008, the conduct of election that we all witnessed in our country, and where we are. ZANU-PF rigged the elections. When ZANU-PF rigged the election, the people of Zimbabwe did not challenge ZANU-PF because it had unleashed military terror on the people of Zimbabwe. If you look at before 2000 or before people of Zimbabwe decided to say, let's rule or let's govern ourselves, Zimbabwe was probably the best performing economies in southern or in sub-Saharan Africa until the government of Robert Mugabe decided to engage in shenanigans that protected thieves. The country's long-run growth record definitely is unimpressive. Even if we look at the sub-Saharan standards, comparing Zimbabwe to South Africa, comparing Zimbabwe to Botswana, comparing Zimbabwe even to Somalia or Sudan, you will find that our country has been destroyed. And our record is unimpressive in terms of economy or politics in our country. That shows we are far, far, far from being literate politically. We might be literate in terms of reading and writing, but when it comes to solutions to our everyday lives, you find that we don't do much. We don't do much on that front. We have like surrendered certain things to say, look, let's leave Shepherd to do this alone. Let's leave Nelson Chamisa to do this alone. Let's leave Tendai BT to do this alone. Let's leave Assembly to do this alone. So our performance or our Ubuntu as Zimbabweans, we've thrown away the baby with the bucket. The water, the bucket, the baby, we've thrown everything away. Atete Yvonne should say, we are not standing for what is right for us as Zimbabweans. If you look at Zimbabweans today, in an independent Zimbabwe, we are not better off than we were 50 years ago. We are not better than we were 42 years ago. That means we were at a certain level, economically, politically. We were at a certain level where we degenerated. If you look at our graph from 1980, it's a graph showing the downward spiral of the economy and the downward spiral of everything in our country. Takaramba takatarisa. Sorry, mwana. Takaramba takatarisa nyika yedu ichidona. Mugabe and the Kruni's were buying time. And I wonder why Zimbabweans did not see it. That if you look at the policies set by Mugabe, the gentleman was just buying time. Now, if you reflect on things that you did for the past 40 years, you definitely see that these guys were just buying time, as they knew that they would be old and eventually die. So they are not troubled anyhow with the running of country or trying to bring good life to Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF is not a concerned part. What they are just doing is buying time, make themselves eat, and at the end, they don't care whether you get services or whether you don't get services. They don't care. They don't blood care. You understand? They don't blood care. Mugabe and his cronies, they just did it to buy time, promising you heaven on earth. Until Mugabe died. If you go wake Mugabe up, ask him, what have you promised the Zimbabwe in 1980? And what did you deliver? So that the people will say, Mugabe is the greatest. What did you deliver to the people? Totally nothing. He was just there to buy time. Comes his bodyguard. He's just there to buy time. This is why you see that he is refusing Malava to go, despite that there is age limit for Chief Justice. You can't go beyond 70 years. No one dementia. And why is Mnangagwa refusing Malava to go? Because Malava, he handed over the presidency to Mnangagwa when he lost the elections. So it's just like a reward to Malava to say, look, Mdar, thank you so much for what you did. I'm going to extend you beyond your retirement age. But the constitution of the country stipulates that when you turn 70, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mugabe was ready to go and give Chamisa the reins. He would have been a great statesman if he did. Definitely. But we are looking back, 50 years back, how Zimbabweans were living. It was Rhodesia. How you guys were in Rhodesia. And how are you today? Can we say you have attained independence yourself? When you attain independence, what do you have to show to the world? That we said we want to govern ourselves as black people. And we have been governing ourselves for the past 40 years. Come look what we have done in our country. Harare, what we have done in Harare. What we have done in Chinhoyi, what we have done in Bulawayo. What we have done elsewhere. Since I started knowing about the independence of Zimbabwe, I was looking at the Zimbabwe map, asking myself, which town was formed by ZANU-PF? To go to an area where they say, okay, fine, we've got this area. There is no production, there is nothing happening here, no activity. Why can't we transform this into a town? Start building roads like what Dubai did. Start building roads, start pegging like commercial stands. Sell them to the people. Come buy, build stores there, build shops, build anything. A well-planned town that we can stand today and say, oh, well done ZANU-PF, well done government. For the past 8 years, you managed to create 3 or 4 towns in our country. None of them, none. They did nothing. All the towns that they are failing to maintain today were created by the whites. By the Smith regime. We've got Gweru, Harare, created by the pioneers. We've got Mutare, Karoi, Chinhoyi, Gwanda, Lupane. You go, you name Bulawayo, Mashingo. If I ask a ZANU-PF, the person today, which town was formed by ZANU-PF, to say this was just like a desert, and there was totally nothing, no activity. And the ZANU-PF came planned, put in roads, put in locations, put in the town, industries, and say, oh, this town is now known as Shepherd Yuda. When I saw you crying yesterday, I did not continue to watch Shapira Zvezano. Zvinopera atete. It's an emotional topic when I come to talk about Tonderayindira and what I went through, what he went through. So it's something that mostly I avoid to talk about. Today we've got a different topic. So I'm looking at that and I receive a phone call from a special person. Someone very special. I can say ndimbuya. Because so when I received that call, she was discussing about yesterday's presentation about Tonderayindira. And she started telling me stories how she was treated during the war. I'm not going to put some names, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how she was beaten, how she was tortured during the war. The Rhodesians will come and torture. Magandanga will come and torture. Pamazita magandanga aya tunotaura. Because vanachiwenga ipapa ainzi Guvea during that war. During the war. He was commander somewhere, Chipinge and so forth. So there were like atrocities that happened during that time. The Guveas and the killing of Chief Mzite, and a lot. We discussed quite a lot. She ended up crying. And I said to her, please, we need closure of everything that happened during the war, closure of the killings that happened after the war, and the closure of everything that is happening today. So this is why I am saying, where to now, Zimbabwe? You have been you are 41 or 42 years old. KV say you are for Zimbabwe, you are 42 years old. So where are we going with you? We came a long way. We have got a history that if we look back, we have got something to talk about. The bad part of ZANU-PF. I know a lot of people say there are some positive issues that we should accredit to ZANU-PF. So I am thinking of what positive issues that we should accredit to ZANU-PF. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know. Totally, I've got nothing positive that I can accredit to ZANU. Maybe some people knows. They must like write them here so that I read positives that have been done by ZANU-PF. Because we were talking about the killings that these guys were doing. And Taura, she really knows Chiwenga. Chiwenga was someone who would be called for special occasions. And she said on those special occasions, Chiwenga was busy beheading Zimbabweans. He was busy beheading Zimbabweans, telling them that, gathering villagers and say, this is a special occasion, come and see what we do kuvatengesi. Vanhu vaidimburwa musoro naChiwenga, naGouver. And Gouver did not stop. Gouver did not stop killing people. He continued with these special occasions where he went on to behead people. I was talking to Seka. He was even bleaching during the war. So you find out that these tortures that we go through in the hands of ZANU-PF, the killings that we go through in the hands of ZANU-PF, are a culture that continued soon after war. And that culture never stopped. It is the culture that we stand today when you say ZANU-PF has won an election. They can't win an election. ZANU-PF can't win an election. Someone will tell you we've been winning for 40 years. ZANU-PF has never won an election. Since 2000, ZANU-PF has never won an election and does not win elections. What they do is they just use violence against the people of Zimbabwe. Yes. Chiwenga is the one who killed Chief Mzite. It was Chiwenga, General Chiwenga himself. He was the one who killed Mzite. He was the one who killed Mzite. It was General Chiwenga himself. And there was another one named as Feeds. Vakawanda ma veterans angashitaura ipapa. The likes of one Feeds. And this Feeds, I think, is still alive. And is one of the commanders of the Mautra. And we were talking about the killings of Solomon Galawen, Wana Rogers, Slashwell. They were killed by Chiwenga. We were talking about Chiwenga, Arguver, Feeds. We're talking about Felix and Nicholas. These guys were the people who operated in Manicaland during that time. And they were responsible for killing people during that time. Yes, he is the one who killed Chief Mzite, it's Chiwenga. So he has been killing people during the war. This is why you see, today if you look at the treatment that he is giving to Mary Chiwenga, I don't know why. He still feels like he still needs to kill more people. And he's the one, I think he wants to behead Mary. Mary Chiwenga is just a girl angori luck in life. She could have been beheaded by Gouver Constantine Chiwenga. So it's something that he used to bleach even during the war. He used to bleach. A lot of people were killed. If you see Chief Gwenzi, he was murdered by Chiwenga. He was beheaded by Chiwenga. So you find with Chiwenga anzaiti kana pana vasikana 3 vakadimbura musoro akatora mitumbi zvamunoona zviri kuitika kuMozambique akatora musoro yacho achinosiya pamusha pawo achidaidza vanhu kuti yaimuone zvatinoita vatengesi. So ZANU-PF is bloodthirst. They don't mind, they don't care when it comes to killings because they've done it during the war and are still doing it. So if you look at what's happening in Zimbabwe today, there is this culture of killing, violence. The spirits of that country won't allow that. Because when it was war, madhara vaenda mudzin'anga, vaenda kumhondoro, vaenda kumidzimu, vachinokumbira kuti mhondoro tapinda munzvimbo yenyu, tanga tichikumbira tichazoopata zvakati. Mhondoro inokuudzai zvemunzvimbo mayo. Kuti zvemunzvimbo medu munomu zvakamira zvakati. So you must follow zvemunzvimbo mayo. Yeah, I think that's the reason why Chiwenga is plagued with these unexplained diseases. Anongofuta, maoko achitaura danzi ndine nhuta. The guy killed a lot of people. If you look at the area, Chimanimani area, Chidzika na Mount Selinda, Chidzika, Manicaland yese. Hands wakati parikuya pane a special occasion. Unoziva pane Chiwenga arikuya kuzocheka musoro. Unoziva ndaitaura mbuya vangu inini vasati vafa, mbuya vangu vaitaura nyaya yasekuru vavo vakaurawa kuChimanimani. Unoziva nhasi pandataura nemunhu wandataura naye ndanyatsokuona kuti ya ukama hwakaoma. So I still remember mbuya vangu vachinitaurira sekuru vavo vakapfurwa mumotikari. Sekuru vavo vakabvunzwa, unoziva kuti nguva dzehondo dziya vanhu vanga vasinganyanyoziva kuti aitungamirira ZANU akanga ari Ndabaningi Stole. Ndisekuru vaStole ndo vaitungamirira ZANU. Saka unoona kuti kubviswa kwakaitwa vaStole kuti havachatungamiririri ZANU kwakunzi Mugabe auya atungamiriri. Very few people knew about it because vanhu vanga vasina maredhiyo makore acho ayaya. Pawaitonzwa news ndepamwe ende zvasingabude munews. Saka word raispread rekuti no, we are no longer under Ndabaningi Stole but we are under Robert Mugabe. Saka paitwa marali mapungwe vanhu vachidzidziswa. Mbuya vangu vakanditaurira imwe nyaya zvikanshepadi. Ndina sekuru vangu vakapfurwa zvezvokunzi vakasvika vakanzi da kuti muone vatengesi. One of the guys mbuya vavaitaura ipapo ndiye the guy anemwa pano ainzi Feeds. Vaiti hanzi paive nemwe mugandanga ainzi Feeds. So hanzi akasvika ipapo akada kuti muone zvatoita vatengesi. Saka vaibvunzwa vanhu kuti anotungamirira ZANU ndiani, arikutungamirira ZANU ndiani. Saka vanhu vaitaura. Unfortunately pangotangwa sekuru vangu ivavo ndobva vangobvunzwa vanzi anotungamirira ZANU ndiani, ndobva vati vaNdabaningi Stole. Zvikanzi mutengesi urayai. Sekuru vangu ndobva vapfurwa. Saka mbuya vangu vaigara vachiitaura nyaya iyoyo because she was there. And nhasi ndashamisika ndichinzwa nyaya yechidzokerero kunzi ndokupfurwa kwakaita sekuru ikoko vachinzi wataura kuti anotungamirira ZANU ndiNdabaningi vachibva vapfurwa. Chiwenga was there. the guy akauraya sekuru wangu ainzi Feeds. Saka you find kuti kudhara kuma-70s when this was happening. Ndakasimba scientists. Andi muriona. Pazvakataurwa kudhara. Pazvaitaurwa izvi. Mbuya vangu vachitaura kuti vakazotiza unana Chimanimani. Vachitiza vachinogara mubocha. Vachizobva mubocha kuma-80s kuno 90s tizoenda kunogara kuurungu. Saka mbuya vaigara, unoona kuti daiwa kune something to record mazuva iwayo. I think adai ndine mafiles akawanda andaiudzwa nambuya vangu. Mai vangu, she knew a lot. Zvaiitwa nguva dzehondo. Unoziva zvandakaudzwa nambuya vangu ndazvinzwa futi nhasi. Magandanga vaive busy kurepa vasikana. Vana vezvikoro vaitorwa. Munana Maunselinda, munana Chimanimani vachitorwa. Vachitakuswa zvikasha zvenyero, vachitakuswa vachiendeswa kumabases vachiita sei. Vasikana ava waiti kana paive nevamwe vana Chimbwido vaivepo. Kwete vanawo pamuchinguri. Vanawo pamuchinguri kana ukada kutarisa nhoroondo yandiri kutaura vanenge vasimu vanawo pamuchinguri. Saka vasikana ava vainzi kana uri kunguva yako haukwanisi kubika kana kutakura chikafu kana kubata zvinhu. Nyaya ndaiudzwa nambuya vangu, mai vangu. Ndaiudzwa nhasi. Ndopandataura ndikati oraiti. Ndopakabva utsinye hwezano. Waiti kana mukadzi ari kunguva kana musikana ari kunguva haikwanisa kubika kana kubata zvinhu zvaishandiswa nemakomrades. Kana kubhesa ainzi usaende. Saka ndaseka mbuya vachindaura zvikanzi taitora matoothpick kana zvimuti tobaya mazino aya. Obuda ropa umu. Wotora cotton woisa ropa reare. Wotora ropa woisa pakati pependi. Vakauya madhara aya achida kurova stonyeni. Hanzi waibva watora, waibva watarisa kudai soona uyo ari kunguva obva hanzi ngabve pano abvumirwe pano. Hanzi ndo zvataipona. Mbuya vangu vakanditaurira same story. Kuti zvakaponesa vanhu vakawanda. Saka paizopedzisira pave nekubvunza manje. Kuti kuuya anogara ari kunguva sei. Because unonge watoona kuti mwana ndikuparadzwa hapana chandowana. Ende munhu arondiparadza haandirori. Most of the people kana kutarisa vanhu vaioperata area yese kunana Chimanimani, Manicaland kuya vakanga vasiri kana kuti manyika kana mandau. They were coming from area dzakaita sana Hurungwe neMasvingo. Vanhu vaitaura munana Harare vaitaura chiZezuru. So you find a lot of things happened during the war. And the perpetrators of that violence are still alive. Chiwenga is still there, Guvea. Someone who beheaded a lot of people, civilians for that matter. Civilians suffered. Vachinzi uri mutengesi, vanhu vachichekwa vachiurawa. Handidi maona. Ndiri bosheni, zviri sei. So you find kuti hondo yeChimurenga ihondo yakadhirena vanhu zvakawanda. Nanhasi hondo iyoyo tikatichiitaura, we look back to where people or Zimbabweans were economically during that time. Despite that we were in war, a lot of people, Anzai Mgoma Ndanonoga, no, I'm sad Gilbert, I'm sad Manonoga. A lot of people were well up during that time. Akuna Murodije na ifanenzara. As it appears like, yes, many people believe that ZANU-PF killed many people than Ian Smith. Definitely it did. Because if you look at Ian Smith, vaiuraya masoja aiuraya. But I don't think they were killing at a rate aiuraiwa nayo vanhu ne-ZANU-PF. This instilling of fear in people started during that time. And I remember when asking who do you support, and if you say Ndawaningu aiuraiwa, a lot of people died. A lot of people died during that time. Thank you, Bonwell. A lot of people died during that time. Panama names. I'm not going to say those names. I'm not going to say those names. If you go Kuchipinge, panonzi pajopa. Ndaipasvika stereki pajopa paipa. I never knew that one of my sekurus was buried pajopa. And I learned about it today. Yes. People vanhu vaiurayirwa kunzi une metal ID wotourawa. Vanhu vaiurayirwa kunzi mwana wenyu mupurisa. Pamusha pamweta mwana mupurisa anoshandira government. Vanhu vaipfurwa vaiurawa, musha waidimburwa musoro. Misoro yechidisplay vanhu vachinzi uyai muone zvatoita vatengesi. So you find that this painful experience, the painful experience that people went through, is still the painful experience that people are subjected to today. So these stories of killings, the stories of ZANU-PF violence, they never stopped. Ukada kuona a good example, kana tichitaura nyaya idzi totaura sefiction, yakutange fiction when we say it. But let's look at, we have got survivors of this violence. It's not only Shepherd who survived the violence. Quite a number of people say, well, in the UK we are lucky. Tina Makombe. Tina Makombe in this country, Sanderson Makombe. He's one of the survivors of these atrocities. So good, if you need to know more, even if you ask Makombe Sanderson will tell you. He survived. We've got Mana Elliot Feve, who escaped at the whisker. You understand? A lot of people, thank you, Tete Flo. A lot of people died during the war. And the perpetrators of that violence are the likes of Chiwenga, and they are still there. Chiwenga was himself beheaded a lot of people. Killed a lot of people. It was a special occasion. You could die zero uyai, vanhu vachimba morari, vanhu vachichekwa. Pandakataura nyaya yekuchekwa kwomudhara wokunotoniwa, vanhu vaifuka ndorowanyepera. I don't talk fiction. I dwell on actual stories, real stories, life stories that happened. And God could have saved me for a purpose, to come and make sure I leave these recordings for our children tomorrow. These recordings, they will be on YouTube for the next 1,000 or so years. People in 1,000 years to come, people are going to listen to these audios, and people are going to make sense. The first 40 years of Zimbabwe, what really transpired. Why is the country like this? When we've got all the minerals we want. We've got stupid leadership that believes a fish industry will turn around the economy. Where diamonds failed, where gold failed, where platinum failed. Someone is telling you that putting 2-3 brims in a dam will turn around an economy. This is where Zimbabweans should open their eyes. These people are just buying time. They've got no solutions to whatever we are going through as a country. If you look back, there was a land reform program that I always tell people, which I don't know who sponsored that land reform program, but there were resettlements which were done and habitat houses were built. And you know what they did? Instead of using those monies to buy farms and resettle people, but they pushed people into game parks, built houses there, make resettlements there. And it never saved the land issue. It never solved the land issue. So from the early 80s, this is what happened. And from the late 80s onwards, serious crises unfolded. Unfulfilled expectations were building up. Unfulfilled promises were building up. ZANU-PF went on to introduce 5-year plans to say after 5 years, we must have achieved this. This is where they were talking about health for all, education for all, housing for all. A lot of social issues were put as policies, which never materialized. Until today, they are still promising you, we are going to build 1.5 million houses by the year 2023. They are still talking about health for all. If you go to Parenyatwa today, you won't receive any health care there, because there is totally nothing for you. But we were told in 1985 that by 2000, it will be a health for all. By the year 2000. If you go into locations, Epworth is still standing. Epworth, they are still standing. But we were told housing for all by the year 2010. So I want you to reflect on whatever I'm saying here. The unfulfilled promises and expectations were piling up, heaping up. Now we've got tons and tons of unfulfilled promises. When is ZANU-PF government going to fulfill them? Promises that they made at independence, they are yet to be fulfilled. They are never met. Instead of meeting those promises, they are 40 years down the line, they are still making the same promises. And they were making those promises to us when we were children. And we are now turning around 40, 50 years old. They are still making, those guys who were making those promises were young by then. Some of them were 23 years old. Vanamai Mjuru were 25 years old. Vanachiwenga were 28 or so years old. Now they are around 60 years old, 68 years old. They still hold that paper, which they made promises to you. And they are coming to your children, promising them that the country is their future. And they are being promised housing for all. Takushamisika kuti ukakohwa chibaga ukaisa mudura chakucelebrate. But you were promising us food security. All the silos are empty. So, what I'm saying is, we are given empty promises every time and then, as worse as we move towards an election. We are still being fooled with an old trick. And I don't know why do we allow that to happen? And the only promise kept is Malawi. The country will not move forward because ZANU-PF started killing people in the 70s when they were in the bush. I blame Mugabe more. Definitely I do blame him as well. So these guys, they were making those promises whilst our country's economy was declining. If you ask them, they pointed at a land resettlement program to say it's because of land. It's because of land. 20 years down the line when we got land, half of their running term, nothing has come out of that land. Urikuti ukaonekwa uchifukura pasi utoda kuti unonga goridhe utengese udye wasungwa. Ukaonekwa uchichera jecha kana murwizi uchitengesa kuti uwane mari yekudya wasungwa. Zviri kunzi rimai fodya, vanhu vari kurimiswa fodya vari kuipisa nemiti. Miti yacho yavari kutema, they are not replacing those trees. And Zimbabwe iri kuita gwenga takatarisa. We have destroyed the ecosystem of the land. Takatarisa. So it was increasingly apparent from 1980 that a serious crisis is brewing. A serious economic crisis is brewing in our country. Expectations were growing. Unfulfilled promises are what we have today. Tons and tons of unfulfilled promises. And they are still bringing more promises to you. Ladies and gentlemen, why can't we say enough is enough? If you look at where we came from, especially in 1997, all the war veterans, when ZANU-PF saw that it was losing the plot, it was losing power. In 1997, ZANU-PF made a payout to war veterans. Every member of the war veteran got $50,000, which was equivalent to 50,000 US dollars. And they started initiating about the fast-track land reform. That was 1997. When we got into 1998, we went to DRC. We went into DRC war. That doesn't concern us. We benefited nothing out of that war, but we lost planes, we lost lives, we lost money, we lost soldiers, we lost a lot of things in DRC with no return. And the war never ended. That was 1998. And if we continue to look into, Zimbabwe has been borrowing and borrowing. Ever since the country gained independence, it survived on borrowing from IMF, it survived on borrowing from World Bank funding. We survived on donor aid. Imagine a country with gold, a country with platinum, uranium, diamonds. That country survived on donor funds. We are like horses where we are waiting to be fed with fodder. Imagine a country that boasts about highest rate of literacy in the country, surviving on donor funds. Tikada chikoro, madona waya utivakira chikoro. Whilst the government, people are busy borrowing from IMF and World Bank, putting those monies into their pockets, depositing them in their offshore accounts, taking the money to Switzerland. Some of them were busy building hotels in Dubai, hotels in Singapore, whilst the country's economy was declining. In Zimbabwe, they were telling those people without anything that we need to do a fast-track land reform. You need land. They were telling all veterans that they need money. They had to pay them. Definitely, 𝗭𝗜𝗠𝗕𝗪𝗘. So when, in 1999, when IMF withdrew its support, the first thing that they were doing is Mugabe was just crying, "You imperialists!" Because they are saying, we gave you money. There is no development that you did with that money. Instead, he went on to build a blue roof house. He went on to build hotels in Dubai. He went on to build, he bought properties in South Africa everywhere. At the expense of suffering Zimbabweans. We went into Simbamakone's monetary fund 2001. That sealed our fate as Zimbabwe. You don't think that Zimbabwe is a resource-rich country. We are a rich country in terms of resources. Apana chatisina muZimbabwe. Hapana chatisina hushingi hwekuti tirambe kudzvanyirira. But otherwise, we have got everything that it takes to be a prosperous country, perhaps the best country in SADC. Today, if you look at Zimbabwe, despite that we're a landlocked country, stupidity has destroyed our country. Uona maChina, hanzi maChina kana vari kuChina vachitaura nezveZimbabwe, vanotaura kuti ndo World Bank ravo. Opportunities opened to Chinese down in China. They come to Zimbabwe because they regard it as their World Bank, where they get rich. Kuda zviri sei bururu, homeboy, uri sei? They get rich in Zimbabwe. They tell themselves, Chinese, if you go to Zimbabwe, find something that can blow dust, you pick a diamond. As if there are no Zimbabweans in our country. If you look at Zimbabwe, comparing Zimbabwe to Botswana, Zambia, Wana DRC in South Africa, Zimbabwe compete in terms of natural resources. Probably we are second from DRC in terms of natural resources. But we don't know where the money is going. This is why I'm saying we are patient. Anzi, can you watch Gono interview with the 𝗭𝗓𝗕𝗪𝗘 part 1? I'll watch it. I'm not sure what was it all about, Mkoma Evi. But what I'm saying is we are a resource-rich country. We shouldn't be suffering the way we are suffering. We shouldn't be fleeing our country the way we are fleeing our country, an independent country for that matter. We are a rich country, I tell you. Regionally, we can compete with any country in terms of resources. We probably have the most educated population. So if you look at the history of Zimbabwe, it is a country regionally that was responsible for food supply. We used to export maize, thousands and thousands of maize. Every country that suffered a drought or hunger, they used to tell you that there is Zimbabwe. You go there, you can get food. You go there, you get food. Michael Piri, how are you? I'm well, my brother. So if you look at how much we were producing every year, Zimbabwe could produce about 1.5 million tons of maize. And we were the bread basket of Africa. Imagine Zimbabwe had capacity to feed all African countries. All African countries, we had the capacity. We are a very small country, landlocked, but we had the capacity to feed the rest of Africa. When they starve, they used to come to us to buy food, and we supplied them food, and we made sure that Africa's food is secured by us. But where are we today? Where are we, guys? If you want to see that these guys are only buying time, they are not serious people who want to bring Zimbabwe to prosperity. Let's look at what they are doing now. If you look at from 1980 to today, the closeness of economic rebound was in 2009, when President Morgan Tsvangirai agreed a government of national unity after his election victory was stolen. The men settled for a government of national unity that saw the economy rebounding. And it was a strong economy, which was, the MDC left the economy, the national government of unity in 2013 and ensured that they left a rebound economy, a very strong economy. And ZANU-PF thought they can go it alone. And a downward spiral started, to the extent that today what we see are just ZANU-PF failures and failures. So if you look at these issues, what we inherited from the Rhodesian Front and what ZANU-PF inherited after government of national unity, this will show you that these guys are clueless. They can't run a country. They are just buying time. And I don't know why Zimbabweans, we are waiting for manna to happen when we see failure in our eyes. This is a well-documented failure of a regime. And I wonder how Zimbabweans, you still believe in them. Because when they rig elections, we keep quiet. Every time they rig election, we keep quiet. We don't show that we are discontented. We go on platforms to cry and cry. That will never bring a strong economy. Our cries, our tears will yield to nothing. Let them be tears and eyes. Tears. Let those tears be tears of action. Let's turn our tears into rivers of action. Because we have shed tears for the past 41 years. But we are still reeling under a weak economy. We are starving. The country now, you find sewage flowing everywhere in our country. Because we are using tears. We are shedding tears without turning them into action. They must be turned into torrent rivers and sweep away ZANU-PF misgovernance. Anzina Moyo Tanaka used to work at a certain company in Chegudu. That company, we were packing green beans. Zichenda overseas, Yai Badara, Shem, Nemiripir. So what I'm saying is, we need to turn our tears into torrent rivers, into violent rivers, which will sweep away anything that is undesirable. ZANU-PF is an undesirable organ. We don't need ZANU-PF. Because the results of government of national unity from 2009 to 2013, those results, if they had continued like that, by today, Zimbabwe would have rebounded and rediscovered its form into one of the strongest economies in SADC. And the most developed countries have manufacturing and agriculture as the main drivers of the economy. Diamonds, gold, and oil are not good at all. They attract criminals, they cause conflict. Mapedza Mkoma Shelton. If you look at what Mkoma Shelton is doing, we are seeing criminals in our country. Chinese are criminals coming to shoot Zimbabweans just to take their diamond. We are seeing some Zimbabweans who have joined criminals vachiba goridhe vachibuda naro zviri kunze kwemutemo. Imagine gold is smuggled outside Zimbabwe through Harare International Airport that is a criminal syndicate somewhere, somehow, operating as security forces. And these are the people who kill us when we tell them that ZANU-PF is a burden to the country. And we need to get rid of ZANU-PF. Such criminals, they don't hesitate to kill you for that. But what I'm saying is I'm highlighting issues that the government should be considering. What, why, when, how? The government should be answering those questions. Because we no longer enjoy peace in our country. Because of the minerals. The diamonds, the gold, the platinum. 33 years, no pay slip, is something that hurts. My petrol station, esendezana. And mbava yenu stagwire yai, ndo inenge yakabata. So, all the corruption that I've mentioned, everything that I've said, has led to social decline. And recovery from now onwards will be a lengthier process. For Zimbabwe to recover from all this mess we have, even if we defeat ZANU-PF today, it is a lengthier process. It's not going to be easy for the next president of Zimbabwe. It's not going to be easy. Because in terms of economy, we look at GDP growth, we look at agricultural output. Agriculture. What else agriculture outputs edu akatanga kukwira. Kuva 1985 zvinhu zvaikwira. Mikoho ichikwira. Takapedzera kuona kukohwa kwakanaka kuma 1999-2000. Kubva ikoko hatina kuzokohwa zvekuti nyika yeZimbabwe ingaguta. Mumwe nemumwe anga akurima zvekusamudura zvekudya iye nemhuri yake. Zvekunzi tifide nyika kwakanga kusisina. Patakasvika 2008, Zimbabwe was struggling. If you look at the manufacturing industry, taive nayo muZimbabwe, hapana chatatisina. But ZANU-PF thought zvinozviita zvega. And zvaingoramba ichingoparara ichienda. Tete Cecilia zviri say good evening. Look, ndo zvinonetsa bruru. Tikataura chokwadi ichocho vanokutaura kuti haupi mari paRarare. Totokuuraya chete. Because we are being run by a mafia, people who beheaded Zimbabweans during the war, accusing them of being sellouts. During special occasions, mapungu mabesi, vanhu vairohwa vachidimburwa musoro. Hazvina kumbomira izvozvo. Kune vana vasina kuzviona zvatiri kutaura, vanenge vaifa tiri kutaura fiction, when we are telling you reality of what occurred in our country. Ukaona now, muchiti murukisa minister anokuudza about an informal employment, we have created jobs. Tina minister arutaura kuti Zimbabwe has got 96% employment rate. Atete Barbara murisei ndakasimba mwana wamai. GMB closed down. That's true. We've got a minister who is out of touch with the reality. You wonder whether Vanastembiso Nyoni, they live in Zimbabwe. You wonder. He goes on television telling the world that we've got 96% employment rate. That means only 4% of Zimbabweans are unemployed. If you continue to press asking her, she will tell you that the informal sector is a form of employment. Omvunza with 33 years, vana mapay slipper. Sekristole zviri sei. Hanzi kozi unorima chibage wakatenga mbeu nema $. Wakunotengesa wakutengesa neRTGS. Honestly, if you do your maths, apana zvawaita. Those farm inputs, when you buy them, you use $. Do costing. Cost accounting. Simple costing will tell you that whatever you bought using US dollars, ukanoisa move, you are risking. Zvimwe zvotadza kumera, zvimwe zvinomera. And the risk yekuti hauzozivi kuti chauchakohwa chii kumberi. It's just an investment which is worthless. Because at the end uchakohwa. Wonda nechikafu chachibage chacho kuGMB. Unopuwa ma-RTGS. Sit down. Take those RTGS. Try go buy US dollar Reserve Bank. You won't find it there. And if you are lucky to get it, you won't get the same amount that you have put on the soil. Kuti urime udye. As a result, you wasted your life. You wasted. Kurima kwakatoita kwacho, you wasted your time. Because Maria uchawana watengesa, it's not enough to cover your costs. Vamwana vatozive kuti time yaunopedza kumunda uchisakura nemadhongi nemombe, ukazvikosta izvozvo, you find kuti you spend the whole day, the whole year doing nothing. You never invested in anything. I am telling you, if you do simple costing, you buy inputs in US dollars, your labor, your mombe, wear and tear magejo. At the end, you go sit down after you sell your maize kujembe. You get whatever you get in RTGS. Try to buy US dollars. You won't buy the same users that you used to buy those inputs. So at the end, you find yourself, you have totally done nothing. You are still at 0 point. You haven't moved any step further. You are still on 0 point. So people of Zimbabwe do not understand what I'm telling you. That we better remove ZANU-PF now and bring back our economy where it was. Zimbabwe farmers have become government laborers. Yes. The whole country has become laborers. They just farm and give whatever they produce to the government for free. Because the same US dollars that you had before Wakoa probably will be less with what you got from the soil. Saka musati nyauza ne land, ndine land ini ndinozorima zvakati. Hapana chauri kurima. Ndikakupa 1000 US dollars nekuti chitenga mbeu, tenga ma fertilizer urime. Wenda unorima ne 1000 US dollars nasi. Ukohwa next year. Unduza kuti mari yao chakohwa iwe inokwana here 1000 US dollars. You're wasting your time. Because it won't be enough. Haumbofoka dzora 1000 andakakupa. Saka unenge waste your time. The whole year is wasted. Alimu. Saka tiri kutaura kuti nyaya dzakadaro dzinogona kuaffectwa neinflation. Ukada kuona Zimbabwe, ndaitaurira vanhu last week. That Zimbabwe is the only country in Africa, if not the world, which had the worst inflation rate in our lifetime, or since the world was created. Zimbabwe is the only country that has the worst economy. KuZimbabwe, waituka ora mari nasi in billions. Mangwana unomuka waona mazero esakabviswa. Mari yako yakahora inosara ya $149. Pabviswa mazero 12. 12 zeros taken away. Haumboite week panenge pabviswa pamazero 6. Unoshata anga adzoka nguva. Awuite a month. Unenge panobviswa mazero angona ma 18-20 zeros within a month. So you wonder kuti vanhu varinga vachita kudaro vanenge vachiona economy dzenyika here. Ndambobvunza ndikati maminister akaita sana Ziyambi. Where do you pick those type of ministers? Ana kazembe. Where do you pick midzimu ngozi dzekune dzimwe misha? Ukaona uchinzi kazembe uri ngozi yepamusha. Ukaona uchi ziyambi uri dumwa kumusha kwenyu kwaunobva ndiwe dumwa. Unoona dumwa rakadaro richaappointwa as minister. What do you expect from kazembe? What do you expect from ziyambi? These are hopeless individuals in life. You pick such people to run a ministry, honestly. Mondarati munyika ine vanhu vakaenda kuzvikoro like that. Kazembe anoappointwa na minister. Unoregerera vanhu vachivhotera uyo anonzi ani chinotimba achinoita member of parliament. Kamubvunza achinonzi answered chii chinotimba. What is a debate in parliament? They don't even know. Vana Zisco vakangomumba, Zesa yakambumba, vana Zinara vakutimwisa sewage. Because munopika rubbish, useless people to say these are the people going to run the government. So you find what I'm saying here. No one believes the current issue can be solved in our country. Ngozi zadza dzemamisha atete floor. Madumwa emumba. Azozoditra bojino zio. Honestly, mkoma semu. Mudaiziya uye pano akadaizwa na Grace anzi kazembe. Ukatarisa George Charamba. Guys, what I'm saying, it's no fiction. I'm just analyzing the people that constitute your government. Look at George Charamba. Kuti ubvunze kuti vacharamba makapedza kugeza rini? Kugezawo chaiko. Kugeza. Ndakazwa kunzi a prolific writer. Honestly, that rubbish he writes, can you call that prolific? Ndakabvunza when Grace Mugabe was saying, we know George Charamba is a prolific writer. I said, what is a prolific writer? What is a prolific writer? What has he written? Speeches of telling him Mugabe with ananoverenga speech. Unotaura Blair, keep your England, I'll keep my Zimbabwe. Then someone says that's prolific writing. Ukaenda pa newspaper ukanoverenga zvima articles zvinonyorwa na George Charamba zvazve. Can we say is that prolific writing? So people do not understand where to use words. I expected Dr. Mugabe to use words wisely as a doctor. Because in Bonds why she knows education. George. George. She knows education, doctor. Is to learn more vocabulary. So that you have no limited vocabulary when talking. Murgonat, I'm struggling here to find proper words to clarify things so that you understand. This is what we call education. If you go and write flabbergasted, ahuna chauri kutaura. Because if I say, oh, I'm flabbergasted here, and taura, but someone has to look for a dictionary and understand what the word flabbergasted means. Saka ahuna kana uri munhu a prolific writer who is sending information to the people for them to understand. You don't use such words. We don't call it prolific writing. Even to use the word prolific, it doesn't make sense. You have to use words, simple English words that people understand. Because when you convey a message, and if that message is understood, you have achieved your objective. So if someone comes and writes escalated, someone who doesn't know escalation has to go look for a dictionary. Spend the time, you read with the dictionary. Ndakazobotaura honorable tendai ndikati no akusukutaura chirungu mudhara. Ma vocabulary ayo ma words ma lawyers ekuZimbabwe they like it. They like it. If they go in court, they like to use my Latin words, because most Latin words don't asinganzwisisike kuti munhu anenge achida kuti chi. Because if you ramble and ramble, you talk and talk and talk, you waffle and waffle and waffle, without expressing what you want people to hear, awuna zvauri kuita. You might load vocabulary after vocabulary, vocal after vocal, load them. They are useless. Because paunobva papodium hapana munhu anenge akunzwa kuti uri kuti chii. So you have served no purpose. You just wasted people's time. Ungaverenga zvinonyorwa naGeorge Charamba achisa vocabulary after vocabulary, vocal after vocal. You need to read it with a dictionary here. So it doesn't make sense to anyone. And someone to call that stupidity with its prolific, then it shocks the world. Because the purpose of communication is to convey an understandable information. This is why vanhu vachiti vakauya paplatform panapa nonzwa vazhinji vachitaura kuti Yuda une chipo chekutaura, unotaura nyaya, hapana anobva asina kukunzwa. Because the purpose is to let you understand, let you know. Ndimi dzavo dzavanotaura dzana flabbergasted. Hatidzidi dziadzi. Indimi unge dzekumasowe. Vanhu vachiona muromo wako uchitange chishiri chavanhu uchitaura vocabulary kuti vanhu havasi kukunzwa. That's no communication at all. I've seen it's common in Zimbabwe lawyers. These guys who are at the University of Zimbabwe, I don't know whoever told them to study dictionary, especially those words. I don't know what munhu yaida kuti vaachieve chi. Kuno kukanyora assignment yako isa zvimawedzi zviya rinotsvuka bhuku. Vanokutsvukisira bhuku. Varungu, there is just one simple English. Simple and straightforward English. Convey your message so that they understand. And one anti-equivocal zvakawanda zvimawedzi. Kuita kuti munhu akaita dictionary analysis kuchikoro. So if anzona anti-equivocal zvimwe zvacho hazvitoverengeka. Munhu akadaro anenge akuseka ukatadza kuverenga wedhiro ariputika kukuseka. Ndakambodzidza ndiri mugrade 7. When I was in grade 7, taive tine nandiri muboy scout. Ndiri muboy scout, taenda kumacampings. Kwataimba tiri maboy scouts tasangana namashamwari edu, tine moyo yakasunungurwa, tinonyemwerera. Ndokwandakadzidzira kunyemwerera, smile, when I was a boy scout. As you zvakaoma kuZimbabwe kwedu uko, may God help us. I don't think God is still with us, Mkoma Gray. You must be articulate. Thank you so much, Nino. I don't think God is still with us in that country. I think God has surrendered us to Satan. I know that song, yeah. Taikaimba tiri ma Boy Scouts. Tiri ma Boy Scouts tasangana namashamwari edu, tine moyo yakasunungurwa, tinonyemwerera. Ndokwandakadzidzira kupfeka bareta. Ndokwandaipfeka bareta when I was a Boy Scout. Andaimaimba drihora. Chazoimba Mkoma Tondondwara. Saka what we are saying is, when you are communicating to someone, or when I'm talking here, guys, this is social media. Indeed. I'm accessing over 7 billion people right now on social media. Saka ndikayapana ndikatanga kutaura mazwedziwa vanodzima ma TV, ma phone now. They've got no obligation to listen to rubbish. Bosi ndikatanga kutaura ndimi yekuti vanhu havasi kundinzwa saka vanovazoteerera chii. So some people do not understand that. When you write a book, you are writing a book for people to read. You're not writing a research book that people will go and use a dictionary. No. Nyora zviri clear, vanhu vanzwe. Saka ndaichitaura nyaya takaenda kucamping. Tasvika kucamping, Thomas usati tiri kuprimary taidzidzira sterek, taive neyainzi student companion. Amene wafana wamazuva ano vanoziva here student companion. And but why Zimbabweans tichisekana when one does not speak proper English? Is this our culture here mgoma as Zimbabweans? No, takapusa tepsula, takapusa. English is our second language. Yotu katonzwa munhu ari kutoitaura tomuomberera maoko kuti at least wakachenjera kudzidza chirungu. Andimona. Ndobvunza, munoma ndogara kuEngland, ndobvunza maBritish. How many languages do you speak, my boy? Anotaura only English. As you have spap memory mgoma Yuda. You remember all your past from school and you at work and people's names, everything. I do, Emoyo. I do remember a lot. My father, Vandagatis now grade 1, 1981, I do remember them. I do remember. I still even visualize them. I do remember things. Saka taenda ku Jamboree. Takaenda ku camping as a scouts. I was a scout leader inini. Ndaitungamirira yanzi woodpecker. Troop yangu yanzi woodpecker ndo ndaitungamirira. Ndri troop leader. Saka ndiriko koko saka takabvunzwa kune boys rakabva kuHarare ku head office kwedu. Vakauya vachitibvunza saka uyu munhu unomuziva se uyu akamira sei. Saka ndakataura ndikati I'm not yet ndingakuti chiko ndada kuti chiko patakachirunguka ndakataura man ndakati vakandibvunza kuti troop yako iyi zvakamira sei. Ndikati handisanda kunyatsoziva macharacteristically each and individual member of my troop, because I've just been appointed a troop leader. Unoziva kuti pandakati handisati ndave ndanyatsoziva macharacteristically or macharacteristics evanhu vangu. Unoona kuti boys ranandinaro rakaputika nekuseka 1987 vakaputika nekuseka vakomana vangu. Ndikati saka muri kusekei? Zvikanzokerera chirungu chawataura. Havana kuziva kuti chirungu icho chichi tata kuchinhonga munana student companion. Tateka muka dictionary kataive nako kainzi kaiko. Kamuka dictionary kataive nako so kakari simplified English. Ndo mataenda tichivhura tichiunzwa macharacteristical ana characteristics taidzidzirawo ipapo kuda kutaurawo uchituka taurawo saka vocabulary tiri magrade 7. Unoona kuti ndakasekwa nekurura ndaive naro nhasi Shapiro auya nerimwe word rules characteristically panapa. As today you are happy mgoma nezuro was a sad day for you papa. Thank you Vale, thank you so much. I avoid the topic yanezuro at all costs. Handidi kunyanyoitaura because it's emotional. And I think hapana chakaipa kutaura voke as a lawyer or a medical doctor etc. Takadzidza blazo murungu awana kudzidza mvoid. Chazvakaipira manje Sam ndikandi kutaurira my brother. Andiri kundona ndagara panapa inini. Highest qualification yangu is a master's in forensic science. I'm a forensic scientist. There are other vocabularies that if I go in a court and give evidence before a judge or a jury, they won't understand it. So the purpose of being a forensic scientist now comes to naught. Because the purpose of a forensic scientist in a court of law is to explain things in a clear manner so that a layman can understand. Ndikasvika ndikati kuna judge kuti ndava HPLC result. Ndotanga kutaura wana carbon. Ndotanga kutaura the quantity of nitrogen. Nditanga kutaura the quantity of oxygen that I found on my standards, comparing them to the sample, and explain to them what I found, comparing my standards and the sample. There are some terms that if I use them, they won't understand anything. So I have got to explain in a clear way. Because vocabulary, to me, when I see, especially medical doctors, when they write, because I'm doing a degree in nursing. So when they write, most of the time, no dzokera kuna doctor, unobvunza. Because once the doctors asana mbona student yakadaro. Saka hana kuzara hatisi ma students achangotanga. Tiri ma students under clarification. Yekuziva kuti chawanyora apa chii. What have you said? What did you write up? So whatever it is. Saka ma doctors vazhinji vacho vaitonda avoid. Because their medical terms are not easy to understand. The handwriting of a doctor is not easy to read. Ndakazviona muchipatara. Saka kana ndakuenda kuna doctor, because if you know mukoma same kuti document ra lawyer rearia, it's a court document. Rinoda clarification, rinoda clearness for the parties to understand, for the judge to help the judges come to a conclusion and give a judgment. Saka munyorera ndakazonzwa a good example. Ngataure advocate Mpofu vachiudza Justice Malava about the fulcrum of the what. That fulcrum of the chakuti yakataurwa na advocate Tavan Mpofu. Yakati Malava justice adzime. Majudges aripo vakatarisana vakanda mapeni pasi. They didn't know what he was saying until he went on to try to clarify to them, but he had already confused them. Look at what judgment was handed down by Malava. It was an ignorant judgment. Malava just handed down a judgment that he himself doesn't understand. As lawyers destroy our country, they think they are much educated. Vanoswera vachiita zvima-law terms vachiclaima zviya zviya kuUniversity of Zimbabwe. Ndofunga vanonga vakatonyora mabhuku nemabhuku ezvimavhokabhulari vachidaidzirana kuti vocabulary rakati rinoti chii, ndopamwe vaidzidza zvekuclaima. So the purpose of communication is to make the person you are conveying information to understand you. If that person doesn't understand you, you end up like Malava, handing down the judgment that he doesn't even understand. And today people are saying Malava should be given 5 more years. For what? What we saw during the Constitutional Court challenge, he can't be a Chief Justice, that man. He can't. Totally, he can't. As is true, it's just jargon that we must use, but necessary. But if you want to communicate, you must use simple words and simple English. That's true. I hope I didn't miss much. No, Mkwashauna. As Magazizam Yuda, we are inspired. Thank you, my Mapunga. Thank you so much. So this is why I'm saying that, look, as a forensic scientist myself, if I go in a court of law, giving evidence before the jury or the judge or the magistrate, I must speak in clear layman terms so that the judge understands. The judge is not a forensic scientist. A lawyer is not a forensic scientist. Ndikaenda nema forensic terms, haana chaano understand. When I'm writing a forensic statement, I must write it in a clear manner so that it can be followed. That jargon is unnecessary. Honestly, it's unnecessary jargon. They have the right to ask if they don't understand. You have to keep on with your vocabulary. Keep on your vocabulary. I enjoy blast. Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much, my brother. So what I'm saying is, Malava akadzima akagara pa bench. Look at that video again. Akangoshama Tavani Kashinama vocabulary and Limona. So at the end, Malava given an inaccurate judgment because no one measured the accuracy anyway. But to me, the judgment was inaccurate and all. So if you give an incomplete picture, uri a forensic scientist wapwanya nyaya. Ndikapinda mukoti ndikati deoxyribonucleic acid. Anodzima judge. Uri pangira napo. Wani mungati jera akanyanya. Thank you baba Kimbali. Zviri sei bruru. Ndikapinda mukoti ndikati deoxyribonucleic acid. Ndobva na DNA. Ndatotanga kupa evidence dzangu. Ndobva ndazoti ribonucleic acid RNA. Munhu asikatoziva kuti zvakasiyana zvinhu izvozvo zvasiyana papi. Anobva adzima kuti wakutaura chiGreek kaShepherd pana. Unoziva kuti mumwe munhu ukamuti kadhavha anodzima. Kudzima mutaura kuti I did a postmortem on the cadaver. Munhu anodzima kudzima. Saka zvakawanda zvekuti we need clarification so that people understand. And Limona. Saka if we are looking at the Zimbabwe's decline, if Zimbabwe was a big graph, looking at it, how it declined from good social life, zvidzika kudai. Kusvika takunwa sewage, tichifamba mumasewage. Uyezve ukaenda kuHarare haupfeke bhutsu yakanaka zvaitwa kudhara. Saka zvoreva kuti Malava nhasi aswera achitsvaka place yekutenga. Varikuda kumudzosera neimwe nzira. Hanzi they have appealed against the judgment. Nyaya yanga ichindinakidza chichi ndeyekuti Supreme Court judges ese were respondent. They were respondents in this matter. So apana Supreme Court judge now anokwanisa kuti I hear this appeal. Because vese they were respondents. Andiri baona nyaya yacho. Vanhu malawyers akaenda nenyaya, they are very stubborn. Very, very stubborn. They made all the judges of the Supreme Court respondents. So if an appeal against a High Court decision has to be made, it has to be taken to Supreme Court. At the moment, apana judge akalistwa as a respondent anokwanisa kunzwa nyaya yacho. Saka kudenga Supreme Court kwese hakuna judge anokwanisa kunzwa nyaya yacho. So if they are appealing, they just file an appeal and wait for a judge to come and take the matter further. And so there is no judge who's going to take the matter further. Because all the Supreme Court judges were what? Were respondents. Saka they are just stubborn or all. That's why are they fighting so hard for Malava? Because Malava handed down the presidents kuna Emerson Mnangagwa without a fight. Whilst he knew Mnangagwa rigged and lost. He lost the election but rigged it. Malava has got the answer. He knows what happened. So this is why you see the whole of ZANU-PF is fighting for him. Instead of him to fight for his job. It's now the duty of ZANU-PF. That's why ndo nyaya yacho iripo. Hadzi lawyer uya akadzidza kuHarvard. Amen. Anditi mona. So if Zimbabwe was a big graph where we see the trends, you find out that our graph or manigrinasho aidzika kudai achenda achidzika. MaZimbabweans takatarisa. This is why you see when I came here, I first came, I said, look guys, Zimbabwe is under the people who are just buying time. The people who are in government today have been in government for 41 years, 42 years now, or 43, 42 years. These people have been in government for 42 years, and they never bettered our lives. So they are just buying time. They are there to buy time. And they are there to buy time. This is why you see they rig election. But they are there to buy time. Do you think ZANU-PF will ever better the economy of Zimbabwe 41 years later? that they failed when our ED vanga vari vafana vakapinda mugovernment. ED I think was 36 years old or 35 years old. Vakapinda vachifamba nemakumbo 2. Vakapinda vachitemwa dzinobva ropa. Vachiti vakatanga kufamba kumhanya vaimhanya wana ED. They were young. They were youth when they got in government. But now at 75 years or 76 years, Zimbabweans expect him to deliver. That will never happen. Chiwenga Pakapera Hondo was just a boy. 41 years or 42 years old. You expect 41 or 42 years later, you expect him to deliver what he failed to deliver when he was young. So they are now just buying time. Vapa penjeni vakungoti hapana zvavanotiita. Kwakudherera chete kwavakuita. And I think it was clever move by the lawyers. Yeah, what they did. But so far, hapana Supreme Court judge who can take over this matter. ED has to be forced to bring back a retired justice or to appoint the High Court judges as justice. As it was, ED was the minister at 34 years. Yes. Now he's about 75 years old, 76 or so. Do you think he's going to deliver at that age? He's now too old to deliver. When he was young, when he was supposed to have delivered for the country, he failed. 40 years down the line, he failed. For 40 years, he failed to deliver. And the people expect him to deliver. This is why you see he's under pressure. Pakavakwa kabridge kekuti mabhasikoro haapesane anoenda kuno officiate. Pakavhurwa pombi yemvura paiswa tank anoenda kuno officiate. Pakavhurwa mochari anoenda kuno officiate. So far he hasn't officiated a big project. Ari kuenda kunodyara tuhove 4 twaari kunodyara mudhemu. He go there to officiate. Saka you find with he's under pressure to show the world or the country that I'm doing something. And the something that he's doing is nothing. You cannot officiate kugadzirwa KVA road. Hauna zvawaita. KVA road ngoti panapa motikari dziri kudonha ingotora zvidhinha muvaka apa mwesatara kusaidu. Then he goes to officially officiate that road in Chirundu. He goes to Karanda to officially open ka bridge kekuti akapesane mabhasikoro. He went to Kwekwe to officially open a mortuary. In Rusape, they officially opened a skippy bin. And everything that he was on camera. He went to Chivi to officially open a tap water. He was on camera. He was on ZBC. So he is under pressure to show the country that at least I'm doing something. Things that should be officiated by a councillor. Kabridge ndeka kanzura kega. Kumusha karanda. Kabridge kakanzura. Akanganyorwa kuti kabridge kakatwa officially opened by His Excellency, the President of a country. So he's putting himself under pressure to perform. But the performance is nothing. He's not doing anything. And anymore, totally he's not doing anything. He should have gone nema burudoza, nembra, nema coffin, kuchimani kunofukura vanhu vatorwa nemvura. But akaenda kwekwe nesofa. Akasvika akagara pasofa akatanga kuadresa vanhu, zvitunha zvakafusirwa vanhu vachiora pasapa. Pakaitwa a disaster. That was a national disaster, a natural disaster that wanted an approach, a proper natural disaster approach. But we saw him flying there with a helicopter and a sofa. And in on, as you cannot then point a Supreme Court judge specifically for this case. Thank you, Mkoma Trevor. Checkmate, Mkoma. Thank you so much. As you cannot then appoint a Supreme Court judge specifically for this case. Checkmate. Thank you, Ngoma Trevor. I'm not sure if he can do that. But is a Supreme Court judge to hear the matter. As the acting judge in Asimkazi, acting, let's wait and hear. Sakatodi ni Mkoma Yuda. Mkoma Selby, no garashtaura Zimbabweans. There is nothing for us to fear when we are dying in thousands. But the number of people who are dying now, they are more than the figure that if we start, enough is enough, we'll die. But and dimensions is creeping in. Thank you, Atelesaru. I think so. There is something wrong with him. Because if you look at Pakatanga Mdara Yachitanga Kuta Atrak Nika Neku, Zakatanga Kufamba ne scarf. Mascava, mnozatu mnomu UK ndo maano pekwaga. Eturapfeka muwinda. Saka zakatanga kuta zvaita Robert Mugabe. When Mugabe came to power, he used to go around Zimbabwe with a scarf around his neck. Takuona it's zauya foot. Saka probably zuda kushowa kuti ngoma ndiyo. Adini mawana muchiruziva nyaya ndakambotaura yemupostori kuti mubhazi makapinda ine armed robber anga ane AK nobva asvika akakoka pfuti akabvisa heti akati munhu wese bvisa chaunacho foni mari chi zvesiri valuable maring uise muheti ukatadza kudaro ndiri kupfuura saka bhazi yakatanga kukolekta mari unozati mubhazi rinenge muna vanhu 80 mafoni mangani 80 mafoni maringi arimo mari zvikwama zvevanhu imari yaivemo vanhu vese vaingobvisa vachikanda muheti imomo akanongedzera AK samarisa yeweyeweyo saka uri kuona kuti pane mupostori aivemo kwamaranga aive netsvimbo yake kuti vakomana munodeiko bhasikoro nehonda saka aive netsvimbo dzavo dzekudai dzedzi hameta angotawo zvivindi sei inobva huka AK inobva yadonha vanobata pfuti zvikansungai munhu saka robha yakabva vanhu vatosunga nokufara sungirira munhu nobva vatora nzimbe kuno heti iyoyo vatora heti anga nemafoni nechi vanhu vati akudzoserwa zvinhu zvedu nobva vatoti ngoma ndiyo akomana isai mari muheti amupostori manje vekwamaranga abata pfuti akurobha iyewo manje andiriona angoti vanhu ngoma ndiyo isai mari saka vanhu vakatanga kuti vanhu mufaro wakabva wadimbuka ipapo vanhu vatanga kusa mari saka you find that situation suit what happened in 2017 when Mugabe was removed by a coup and the people say vanhu vakafara. Here comes another impostor to robbers, then he's told you ngoma ndiyo akomana scarf first to show you that nothing changed. Ngoma ndiyo saka maZimbabweans are just being robbed now. Isai mari 2% tax isai mari. You understand? Nothing changed. The transition from Robert Mugabe first to this second dispensation, nothing changed. But we moved to a different robber, and our situation has declined. The levels we are now, nema levels atakasiwa na Mugabe, zvakatosiyana. Patakasiwa na Mugabe, vanhu magajera aihora 500. Ndaitaura na bhuru wangu kuti mukora mari manje atiripuwa $512 here. Yes, let's ask him. I don't know what happened. Takora $60 a month. From $500 a month to $60 a month. So you find with Papakasiwa na Mugabe, things went down. Nothing improved. Sakangoma ndiyo. It's a different robber. The first robber, takasungirira. Karatimude second robber, awe yangu trap foot. Akarande iton, ngoma ndiyo. So if you look at technologically, our country never improved. The policies our country never improved. We go to the constitution, the supreme law of the country. It's being amended before it is being used. Mitemo iri kubviswa yatakanyora yatakada isusu iri kubviswa haisati yamboshanda muZimbabwe. Tachitotanga kushanda patiri kuenda. Yes, yamutiletwa. So we are back to constitutional crisis, to economic crisis. So it's like ngoma ndio now. And thanks ngoma nika song ke Baskoro ne Honda. Thanks Mike. Oh mana munoda iko Baskoro ne Honda. So you see that globally touch seko chenyika. Regionally our economy has gone down. Akusina kana nyika yatingazokombea Zimbabwe nayo. Andidimona. Saka ndo nyaya tikutaura ladies and gentlemen. Could the change that we all expected is no longer here? And you're such a good narrator. Thank you, Foji. Azi mngoma munogona kutaura nekutsanangura ngoma ndio. Ndo chokwadi shamu. Ngoma ndio mpostori and takabvisa robber. Because Mugabe was a robber. And the people were angry about Mugabe. Up to days, people are still angry. And we thought maybe Madzibaba kana send Jonah. Send Jonah auya achagona kubatsira nyika. People expected ED to perform better because he has been by Mugabe's side for almost 40-something years, 30-something years. And he has seen mistakes that Mugabe had made. To the extent that people in ZANU-PF, when Mugabe was being removed, they had to point at Mugabe's weaknesses. The first thing was about the sanctions. That even chimdara chaya mochitani chaja chine mukadzani mahwinya chironzani ichi hanzi ndeipisha piro mukoma Alex Murise chironzani chimdara chaja chonzani koichi Chris Mutsvangwa. Ndakati ukaona vakadzi vedu vacho uzani vanhu vakadzi zvinoita vakadzika mukadzi akabereka anoruza shape asi ndo zvaanenge ari paanga ari musikana. Pane a lot of changes, hormonal changes that happen to a woman, and the body sometimes loses shape. Mumwe anogona kuti akabereka stereka anopedzisira afuta akuita zvimabhambu. Saka vakadzi like that pane transformation inoitika pa their physical and green stature. But ukatarisa size yambuya vai takaona vakapfeka bikini vari kubeach nemudhara uya akaburitsa zvidumbu panze so asi zveage yavo zvezve because vana tenge takunyara takutadza we are Africans, we've got a culture. Atikaite culture yevarungu yekufamba takasunu takakumura kuAfrica hazviko izvozvo. Ndosaka uchiona hatina mabeach muZimbabwe. Kwada kuenda kukariba kumasenze ukariba nda beach unorohwa nemakarwe kuyakwe. Ukakumura kupfeka zvazve unorohwa nemakarwe kana kutorwa nenjuzu. Saka you find kuti muZimbabwe hatina mabeach ka. Ndati tikatauda mabeach watoenda kuswimming pool muZimbabwe. Makasiyana nemuno muri kana beach tunoenda kuRed Sea. KuZimbabwe unoenda kuswimming pool kana unoda beach. Wotonoswima muswimming pool. Muzangopinda muleka riba chete muna Satan. Mune rumwe garo randakaona wakariba uron Satan. Nanhasi ndofunga riripo. Pandakaronda rainzi riri kuma 140 years old ikoko. Parakamira harifambe garo iroro. Ndofunga nanhasi riripo. Unongonosvika ukandwa wolumwa ikoko. Handiri maona. Muleka riba is not a dam rekuti unotobvaira kuti nhasi ndaunobhakuja muleka riba. Ayayayayaya. Unotosangana nazvo. So mudhara uya anonzi Mutsvangwa tomunyarira. But akasvika pakutaura kuti ukaona uchingochema masanctions every day uchishaya a way yekuti unovabvisa sei, that means you are not a good leader. So why can't Mugabe just resign? Tise mwe munhu anobvisa masanctions 3 years or 4 years down the line tikutoona aripo arochema more than what Mugabe used to cry. Andimona saka tizvati masanctions azobviswa here vana Mutsvanga ndima apanyanga. So we still have questions to ask you guys. We need answers. We are the population. We are the people of Zimbabwe. Andimona saka the people who came as the people we call optimists, because these are the gentlemen that used to tell us that we must revert back to the times where we did not have sanctions and we need those sanctions removed. Vena, how are you? I'm well. Andimona. So, Zimbabwe since 2017, it has gone under seismic change. A seismic change, I refer to something like a violent change or an earthquake that transformed our lives from better to worse. We were in a good shape during Ian Smith, but things started deteriorating. Everything went down during Mugabe. And worse, during ED, that when you know seismic change, a violent change, something like an earthquake, which is happening now. So since that decline, Zimbabwe recovered in 2009 to 2013, but it was just a short period of time, where Tsvangirai brought life to you guys, where Tsvangirai made sure that Zimbabweans had 3 meals a day. But about Zimbabwe, I could hardly have 2 meals a day. But Tsvangirai changed everything, brought food on a table. And I don't know where you guys got lost. Because MDC, Tsvangirai, Tsvangirai and the MDC had shown you the way, how to do it. 2000 showed Mnangagwa 2008 strength and influence. ZANU-PF lost, but ED made it possible, and ZANU-PF remained strong. This is when he said we lost, but Takaramba Tiripo, he admitted losing elections, but they were there by hook and crook, and they led to a collapsing country. Since then, the country has experienced a free fall. No investment is coming in our country under such a free fall economy. If you look at the imports and exports, we no longer have exports in our country. We could be having exports in form of minerals, but they are not. These are trace minerals. When you talk about gold in Zimbabwe, these are trace minerals. There is no way you will find Zimbabwe gold in abundance. These are trace minerals where we are chera nongaka gram, we are chera pa nongaka 2 gram, we are chera pa nongaka 5 gram. Mabata needs that to make a living. So we call them trace minerals. They are not found in abundance. So exporting trace minerals is not something that we expect a turnaround of the economy. But look at what we are importing. What we export is far less than what we are importing. Apasina chatisuri kuimporta muZimbabwe. Sipo yekugezesa takutenga ku South Africa. Mafuta ekubikisa akubva ku Argentina. Cooking oil ndo cooking oil. Mafuta edzimotikari anobva kuma Asian countries. Atina chedu chatakuita chibage chirubva ku America nerice rubva ku China. Zimbabwe haina chayo chayaku export haina. Saka we have been turned into a consumer country where there is no production. Once you stop production, you've stopped, your economy has stopped to breathe. So we have got Idi Mnangagwa sitting on the economy's neck, and the economy of Zimbabwe can't breathe. The country can't breathe. The nature of production that we had, the nature of exports that we had, and the functioning of those products and whatever we exported. If you look at it today, it will tell you where we went wrong. The results on their own, they show where we go wrong or where we went wrong. Some people might point at the global impact of the economy to say there was a recession, there was this. But why is that recession affecting Zimbabwe more than any other country in the world? As cooking oil made from crude oil, these people are clueless at a floor. They are people just buying time. So what's the way forward? Forchi, I always tell Zimbabweans, The way forward is ngatikumurei bhachi rinonzi fear. If you talk to any Zimbabwean today, hanzi ndopfurwa ndikafa. You talk to any Zimbabwean today, hanzi ndozouraiwa. So that fear of death is the fear that we must take off at this juncture. Let's sacrifice ourselves. Inini ndakataurira munhu ndikati last time vanhu vaiti hey MDC ndikati guys inini kana ndakuti I'm no longer an MDC person. That means organization yandenge ndakutevera is an organization that is taking up arms against dictatorship of ZANU-PF. That is the only organization that I can join now. But zondo my political parties aripo ese anenge achitaura maslogans andijoine. I've got enough in MDC. We do sloganeering, we do protest, we do whatever we want. But vachangirai vakasiya vatidzidzisa kuti musafe makatora pfuti kurwisana. Vachibva vati ndakuenda, vachibva vaoneka ndokurwa pasi. Vachamisa vakauya vakaiswa navachangirai vakati vachamisa ndo vane capability to lead you through. If I look at Chamisa, I see Mahatma Gandhi in Chamisa. If I see Chamisa, I see Obama in Chamisa. There is something that lacks in Chamisa. The military part, the military side. And that is not his fault. Because the type of politics we have practiced in Zimbabwe always is on two fronts. One on political side and the other one on military side. Chamisa is a politician. So he does the political side. So who is doing the military side of our politics? Even ZANU-PF fought on two fronts. ZAPU fought on two fronts. Only MDC is fighting on one front. So politically, the MDC have never lost anything to ZANU-PF politically. Comes elections, MDC will wipe up ZANU-PF to the extent that ZANU-PF will go rigging. And when they see that they are losing the game, the plot, they now include the military side of politics, send soldiers, shoot them, beat them up, abduct them, make them disappear. So this is the side that we should face as Zimbabweans. This is a way forward. To say as long as we keep this fear in us without confronting ZANU-PF on the military side, then our dreams or our hopes will always be shattered. Because when they lose, they don't accept losses. They use the military to say, grab the power for us. You saw in 2017, they put the military on front to say rescue ZANU-PF is about to be defeated. Blood will liberate Zimbabwe. Your blood, my blood, will liberate Zimbabwe. If we don't look at that military front, definitely we will take long to dislodge ZANU-PF. It will take time for every Zimbabwean to understand that don't vote ZANU-PF even if you are intimidated. So the people of Zimbabwe, what they cry is security. They want to be safe. And for them to be safe, they want someone to assure them that if these idiots come to beat you up, we will retaliate. We will fight back. This is what people want. That promise kuti tinodzosera kana zvaipa ndozvikudiwa nevanhu. Boss kana when people were crying, tiri kuurawa, misha iri kupiswa. MD said nothing to do, had no power or anything to do with that, to deal with that. Misha yakapiswa up to today. Kune vanhu vasina misha kumamisha vakapisirwa misha. Takambotraya kuita maprojects, kutraya kuraisa mari, kuti vakire vanhu misha vakapisirwa misha. Kune vanhu vakasara vasina ana baba mumamisha umu. My breadwinners, they were murdered by ZANU-PF. You understand? So it means why they did that is to instill fear in people. Ukaenda kwakazangarira ona kwakudza kuti kwavhotera MDC zvatakamboita paya kwamhere yenyoka vambwanda vakaurawa. Saka munofira mahara. You understand? Vanenge vakuona kuti isusu MDC chichatakanoita kumhuri yekwambwanda. Kuna vafana vanenge vangu vakasara vanatawanda. What did we help them with? Pamusha hapasina baba. So a lot of things that will work against us. This is why I'm saying, let's turn our backs to face the reality. The military side of politics must also be dealt with. If we don't deal with the military side of the politics, then we are always going to be in trouble or in problem. Let's collapse ZANU-PF military side. Vakakanda matombo vakanzwa takudzosera matombo vanonyatsoona kuti vanhu vaya vazomuka vanhu veZimbabwe. Ndo zviri kudiwa chete kubvisa bhachi rinonzi fear. Vakakanda matombo tokanda matombo. Toita inonzi tit for tat ndo yavari kuda. And hapana nemonopoly yechigandanga. Ndakukuudzai, chigandanga is just a matter of training. Ndikakudzidzisa kuridza AK panapa kana ukatora ukaona mupurisa achifamba pane AK ukamubvutira kutoiridza. It's a matter of training and survival skills. All right, ndatora pfuti ndaridza panapa. What's gonna be what gonna happen next? Over soldiers will come. Ndoite. Do I have enough prowess to fight them? If I don't have, I'll retreat. Don't I gather enough strength and enough equipment? Then I'll come back fighting them. And that's how war is won. Apana, if you look at Ian Smith, he was probably one of the best, he had probably one of the best trained army in Africa. Smith had probably best equipment in Africa. But he could not contain pockets of resistance that were formed by the Goliras. Today we have got the weakest army in our country, in the region. Ndege chaidzo kada kuverenga zvikopokopo zvavasara nazvo zvingani. Enutase helicopter dzavanadzo dziri kudonha idzi dzakapfura life span yadzo kudhara. Andiri muri kuona. Thank you Josh. Helicopter dzedu dzeAir Force dzakapfura life span yadzo kudhara. Helicopter dzedu dzichienda kunokuya kuzotirwisa dzinenge dzichikoromoka dzega dzichidonha. Andiri muona. Havasina in terms of equipment havana. Dai vane equipment kutaura nevhavhu rina ED nebapu nebupu rana rine dzungu ranaro iro. Ingada kutaura kuti vari kuMozambique neequipment yavo. But they are not there. They went DRC dzakapera ndege kuti Congo. You understand what I'm saying? So we are fighting a political party which is fighting on two fronts. Kuti vakaona kuti politics vakumamiswa vakurohwa. Vanobva vadaidza masoja, uyai masoja. Pindai murove vanhu. Uyai masoja. Uyai turove vanhu ava. So tikarohwa, tikapfurwa, tatopinda fear. Unoziva dai kupfurwa kwakaitwa vanhu musi wa 1 August. Dai kwakuri kuSomalia, kana dai kwakuri kuSudan kana kuTunisia. I am telling you, chinhu chainzi ZANU-PF chaibva chaparara musi iwoyo. Mhuka inonzi ZANU-PF yaibva yafa, yapondwa musi iwoyo haimuke futi. But ava vakatipima, vakaona kuti vafana vape jacket rakanzi fear. Kwangoti futi po mudenga, we shit on our pants. Zvidhotera unoona mufana akamira achigwagwadza parira pfuti kugwagwadza so achimama dhota. You understand what I mean? If we fear the military side of ZANU-PF, they will rule us another half a century. That is exactly what I'm saying. Thank you, Mkoma Josh. So we need to confront the military side. I am a political partner that has ZPP and do and vanongoya kuti amadla kubatana chi omvunza kuti mauya akuru mune plan ipi. ndivotere inini. Stupid, man. Stupid. Tikuvotere iwewe une plan ipi? Now enough leaders we can vote for, vote politically. But there is a side that we are looking at. Go to the people, tell them, Mamahla, Batanai, Maoko, andidi. Mapedza kudaro, ndivotere varume. Kana makurohwa ndine mauto andinawo. Anouya achikubatsirai, amurohwe, toda free and fair election. That way we win the country. Kwete Brian Mteke anouya achindivotere. Amahla, ndi Brian Mteke. Ari wani. Atotsvagawo basa. Ngatimbomirai kuemploya vanhu. Ngatimbomirai kuemploya vanhu vari useless. Vana Brian Mteke wakutotsvagawo basa. Vana Linda Masarira kutotsvagawo basa nekapolitical party kake. Unofunga mukamuvhotera iye asina kana mauto acho. Vanongomutaurira utongi. Zvapera. Hanzi we are 8 million able-bodied Zimbabweans against less than 10,000 loyal ZANU-PF militants. And we can fight them. We can kubata nemaoko chaiko afana vai. Kubata nemaoko chaiko. Tikada tazvipira maZimbabweans. So we just need to take off that fear jacket and confront the military. Andimora. Ndochete chiri kudiwa kuti tiite semaZimbabweans. Notikaramba takadaro, we end up seeing an informal sector as a form of employment. Wakambozvifunga here kana uri gweja gweja. Musi waunorwara kuti hauchakwanisi kumuka, hapana kuziya dhiri rauri kuita. Unofa uchidyei. Kuchipatara kwacho hakuna mushonga. Wandowana. So, ukanzwa munhu achikutaura kuti an informal sector is a form of employment, muudze Satan. Ibva kumhepo. Vakumepo Satan. So we need a seismic change, an earthquake in our country that will make sure that post-Mugabe era or post-ZANU-PF era will bring economic development to our country. Ambobatawo payslip. Imagine kuti 2023 elections ZANU ikarohwa. Panenge pane munhu ane 50 years who is hoping to have a pay slip for the first time. Kuorawo salary achibva kubasa. So for a start, let's make sure that tabvisa bhachi refear. And it's not the whole Zimbabwean military supporting this evil. Definitely. I talk to soldiers every day. I talk to policemen every day. I talk to prison officers every day. Every single day. Ndono mukantsvaga wafana kutaura nawo kuti pariseiko paPG pa 3 brigade parisei pa 42 masvingo apo pa 23 infantry pamagunje muri zvigona sei vakomana vari kutaura kuti we are tired, we are sick and tired. Andimona. So this is what I'm saying, guys. Kuti tine vanhu vari brain dead. Avarambike kuti vanhu vari brain dead varipo. They are there. We've got professionals who are brain dead, who support ZANU-PF. We have doctors who are brain dead, who support ZANU-PF. Nurses with empty mind. Public servants who cannot stand for themselves. Parastatal managers deployed by ZANU-PF, who are all brain dead, who are reeling in poverty. Ukada kuona Maria doctor ku Zimbabwe. Doctor Akunzi is a laborer. Atwe the least paid perhaps in our country. So you will find kuti vanhu vakadaro they've got no capacity to bring us change. We've got fear of the unknown. If we remove fear of the unknown, definitely we close the gap of fear. And Zimbabwe will rebound into a major economy in our lifetime. As long as we don't do that, then we are dead and buried. We have destroyed ourselves. An institution known as Zimbabwe has been destroyed. We can't rebuild it when we are scared like this. We can't, honestly. We have developed into a community of cowards. For the past 20 years, I expected that Zimbabweans were going to join hands to make sure that we remove ZANU-PF. And the man, as Joshua, and it's not the whole Zimbabweans. So the military definitely will join the people. Hakuna msoja acharidza pfuti kana zvinge zvatanga. Hakuna. Kana independence, yeah, the wind of independence is blowing. No soldier will resist. No one will resist. I am telling you. The wind of change, the wind of independence, when it's blowing across the country, no one will stop it. Not even the strongest dictator will ever do it. Because the people of Zimbabwe will be striking the point. They will be demonstrating to you that, no, we want change now. Economic change. It will definitely come in our lifetime once we remove that fear jacket. Because the people of Zimbabwe, what they want at the moment is just security. And the nurse in the UK salary can pay 10 Zimbabwean doctors. That's true, which is true, 100% true. Nurses are earning a fortune in this country. So these are critical aspects of our country we should look into. Today, we must map our way forward. We must do without this captured justice, captured country, captured state, captured everything. Everything has been captured by ZANU-PF. The country has been captured by political elite. The whole country looks like a big prison. Looks like a big prison. And no one is determined to bring this to an end. Regardless that we've got a political party that has been followed by thousands and millions of people in our country. The cost of fear is what we see today, a collapsed economy. Because of fear. We've got fear. Ukatora takasunga manganda so what nasi pano panofiwa. Zimbo rokwata. Zimbo rokwata komana. Ukaona zimbo rakasunga manganda. Chiri kuzikanwa nemaZimbabweans ezvinezvi. Waura nemukadzi wangu. Afana vari kukwatiswa. Ndakubata uri pambedha wangu nemukadzi wangu. Magara anonzwa nemboma. Ndakaona mumpa nairwa musuno zvikanzi ndipe mboma, ndipe zimbadha. Vakauya kashamu vakachwachwa zvikanzi akarwadza. Mbana akatanga kurohwa nezimboma rakadai. Ndakazoaridza yo ndikati fira stonyeni mbana. Pazoti kurohwa kwati tifire nyika. Takufira stonyeni. Ukatasa mavidheos ari kubuda zvinezvi mazuva ano. Extortion. Pane imwe inonzi extortion so. Yekuti unongoseterwa mukadzi wemunhu and akurambe mukadzi wacho. Wobva watobatwa wobva watonzi ndakubata nemukadzi wangu. Ndamari yakati. Wotofonera bhuru rauye nemari. The way we are looking for survival is something that we can't finance ourselves with your wife's private part. No. Some people are financing their lives with the private, with the women, their wives. Send them to trap certain men and make those guys pay. That is costly, guys. Because obvious, tikakuziva toita kuziva kuti mukadzi wako ndibuya tinapangana andimona. Saka zvakaipa izvozvo. The way we look forward to finance our poverty. Azviti iwewo murume uri kufurira mukadzi wako kudaro, iwewo une kudhodhoka, imboenda unomboita sodhindo mudye wotimboona kana zviro izvo zvawafunga. Iwe unozvitya soda kuti mukadzi wako aende kunoita zvakadaro. Mapedza takubata ndakana mpana dirwa mvura mvura bucket ndokura unouraya munhu. Ndaiseka the other day, ndaitaura namadhamu wangu. Ndikati unoziva kuti ndiri kuZimbabwe when I was a prison officer. I used to go around my locations ndichiona hama neshamwari. Ndikasvika vanhu vachiita fight. Chirovana. Ndakambosvika kuWarren Park. Ndaenda kunoona hanzvadzi yangu. Saka ndasvika kuWarren Park ndaenda kwasekuru. Ndaenda kunoona hanzvadzi yangu. ndakasvika panext door pacho vanhu vakarovana ivavo angopapa vairovana kuwarren park d I think pakaita fight yakanetsa usati zvibhagiro kwaiswa zvibhagiro chiro vanasvika paipa vanhu vangasikabate but ndakamhanya ndikasvika pakati pavo vachirovana wakomana I was like a stranger ipapo svika ndikabata ndikati nei what's the problem iwe uri kutaura ndokuuraya uchirovana nemunhu uda kumuuraya zvikanzi ndomuuraya vanati baba chimbomirai vandavatora mwapo pamwapo vachifemeruka ndikati aiwa murovane ndiripo ndakutaura nemi wakomana inini mukana ndiri panapa I'm a prison officer ndobva ndaburitsa ID yangu this is my ID I'm a prison officer ndoshanda pachikuruba pandakuonai muchirovana uyu achidaidzana ndoda kuuraya zvandinetsa because zveshuwa unomurova chibhagera ubva ati dhikufa ubva afa iwonga uchida kuuraya that is an intentional to kill ukauya kujeri hatikutreate with the kid gloves because you are a murderer wauraya munhu and the next thing expect to go to gallows mutsipa wako unoshishwa netambo yakadai kumonewa mutsipa unosvinika unoreba kudai mutsipa unoda so rakabuda so rimi ukamona munhu anofa achihemwa kujeru haupare mhosva futi ukaona kondemu richihemwa kujeri haupare mhosva wakamboona munhu wamunonotora kumasales achifamba muchitaura nyaya naye saka iwosha guys unongona nemaziso arinoziva kwandakuenda ameno udzokwe wopinda naye kuenda naye kumagallows kuya pacentral prison unosvika osetwa nahangman achiswa zitambo riya richibuda nepapa hangman achiri make sure kuti rabata here mutsipa zozonovhurwa zvimadhoo zviri kugumbu uchirembera uchiinda nemaweights pasapa unozoti kwache uchiendai munotarisa anongogwina munhu wanogwii endai munotarisa muone munhu iyeye unosvika mama kwana munhu akufa anomama unosvika unoona munhu akakuvhura chibhegi unoona munhu akabuda ziso kudai ashishwa netambo iyayi it's not nice ukaudza munhu ari murodhi vachirovana ndakavataurira ndikati ndakavaudza zvandiri kuvaudza izvi unomuti bad offer mawitness aripo uri kutaura ndokuuraya ukauya kukoti unokonzi condemn ukanzi condemn tonokuratidza tambo yacho iwo haudzokeko and haufokaenda futi haufokarova munhu futi but mukoma you did something that no one ever did what you did I believe you have it all but we must learn from you thank you mukoma John and it is very true but I think ZANU-PF did that to make sure kutya kwapinda muvanhu kutyisidzira vanhu andi murikuona saka ndiri kutaura ishe ndiri kutaura panapa yekuti vakomana avo ndindakastopa fight yavo ndavaraidza ID yangu vapedza paipai ndakazohasha dzakupera ngati mhoresanai vamhoresana kumbiranai riregerero matadzirana chii mari yangu ndikati showa mari ndiwe mukaroverana wezvibhagera kudai mari zvikwereti ndochamuri kutiburirana parodhi kudai daidzira ndokuuraya ngatimbofungai semazimbabwenzi nyika yakamira mukurovana panapa nyika yekutsva vana idi vana mugabe ipapo vaidla mari vachiba vana chiyango vachiba ndakaona picture yachiyango vana idi kana zvisunga nezvi andimona saka nyaya yandiri kutaura panapa yakanaka ndiye kutaura kuti we must redirect that energy to ZANU-PF. If it means fighting with their military wing, we have to. Because to me, nyika yeZimbabwe haina ZNA. Hatina Zimbabwe National Army. Hatina zvachose zvazvi. Tine ZANU-PF National Army. But hatina Zimbabwe National Army. It's a political party army that is masquerading as a country's army. It's not a country's army. If it was a country's army, they would resist these illegal orders of killing Zimbabweans for no apparent reason. So there is a vacuum of leadership in our country. This is something that we lack my leaders and courage. We lack my leaders and courage. Ndakangoona President Nelson Chamisa variwo chete vari kunzi taura taura Chamisa taura akarega kutaura akati ziva vanhu vese uchema maiwe Chamisa wanyarara. Chamisa is our president. We should not use him for dirty work. And he has some leaders surrounding him who are supposed to be seen doing something. They can't even talk. They can't even say anything. They want Chamisa to sacrifice Chamisa only. We have empowered Chamisa to represent us. He is a leader that we all lacked. But he needs your support and my support. Chamisa cannot stand here and say, Torai put and Torwana Nezan. Nusaka Murkona Mugabe, he led the political front. Manatongo Gara leading the military front. The military front, Yanga Siripa political front. Yanga front which was organizing for a fight. But Chamisa is on the political front, is doing well. Where's the military side of ourselves? Why are we ignoring or neglecting ourselves? This is not normal life. And that's not normal life. So we need our economy to recover. We need our country to recover. To do that, we need to get rid of corrupt ZANU-PF. It's no longer an issue of pointing individuals in ZANU-PF. It's an issue of pointing an organization known as ZANU, which is corrupt. The whole structure of ZANU-PF is corrupt. Nosaka mukona zvinezvi kana majaji acho ana ziyambi zvikwambo zvikumba ndo zvaakutuka majaji kutuka jaji kuti pana jaji anongotongodyiwa nyaya kana ana jaji tongodyiwa munodyiwa kabhozi ari kuita basa rake anditi mona. Saka ndo nyaya tikutaura kuti we want to stabilize our country. We want our country to recover. We want reforms. Sekutaura kwazvinoita ma-reforms ari kudiwa akawanda because vakumhanya kuita ma-constitutional amendment vasingaite ma-reforms. I don't know why. We don't need constitutional amendments. We need reforms so that we implement our constitution. So if you look at everything that I've said, I've focused much on the future of the country. Whoever comes on top in the current government or the government to be formed must focus on the future of the country and must look at realities, especially to the economy, so that we create an environment where these kids will work and eat. Kana vakashanda ngahokushanda vane 50 years babangu zviri right. Pamosvika 60 years munenge mane ka 10 year contribution pane kuita nothing, none. Andimona. Ukada kuona vanhu vese vakashanda, we are starting life afresh. Naiseka na baba mnini wangu hanzi patakabva Zimbabwe Shepherd takasiya fat bank accounts. When we went back, mamusina kana send. Kwabvunza kuti dai bank mari yangu yandakakupai 10 years ago ndichienda iri kupa hamuna. Andona. Because there was inflation at play. And government policies at play. Tinashe zviri sei mwana wamai. So this is something that we need to do. A long-term planning to bring back our country, to make our country recover. Economically, politically, we need stability in our country. And that stability can only come when we remove ZANU-PF. Hatishatarisiri vanamukanya, vanamapfumo vaitema mabhunu nematombo. Kuti zviite, vakamanager kusecure independence. Dai vari vamwe vanotoma mapfumo engadai vaikutaura kuti ndoda kuitawo minister because vakairwa hondo yacho. But vakati aiwa vanozvikwanisa chiita etiona. Nanhasi vaitaifunga kuti vanozvikwanisa vakazvitadza. So they are just buying time. They cannot do anything to our economy. If you look at social front, political front, everything has collapsed in our country. Nyika iri kutengesa zvinhu ne-US dollars kana vakubhadhara vashandi vopiwa RTGS. Hapana chinobuda, hapana chinoshanda ipapo. And if you ask yourself why, it's a way of bata vanhu nhapwa, slavery. So what we need is recovery. We need to move away from this informal sector of doing things to formal sector of doing things. And the formal sector will give prosperity to economy. If we don't do that and continue with the current activities, then the country will go down. Kada kuona zvinezvi mabhodha akavharwa. Fuel iri kuya nemunhu 1 muZimbabwe. Akashaya fuel ye zvatopera. Currency nyika yedu haina. Tiri kutrade nedzimwe currency dzimwe nyika. Ma business opportunities muZimbabwe hamusina. Andiri kuona. Hakusina munhu anoda business muZimbabwe. The country has turned upside down. Everything has turned upside down. Imports. We are importing almost everything. We are importing food, importing electricity, importing fuel. Takuimporta maChina. Imagine. Ndakamboti vanhu toita hatudyiki here toita. Ngatimbofungai zvakanaka ngomana. Tinangofane nzara tonhu totunyama ngatoita. Togona kuti uraya tikanyasa kuti tvedzenga tikatodya paya. Tikatotambura nyama imbwa dzapera kudyiwa. Kodyiwa vanhu tuya. Hanzi idi yatadza kuvaka imba 1 zvayo pa5 million dzakataura. Amai maponga. Baba vaya bridge ravakanovhura rere hanzi rakakosta 380 million. If you look at Kazungula yakakosta hanzi redu rere rakakosta 360 million. Rokaranda. Kazungula yakakosta 286 million. So bomunonyasa kuona kuti kuna kwatiri kuenda. Everything is upside down. So the 2023 election is decisive. If you guys fail to make sure that you register and vote and it is defeated, then forget about a new Zimbabwe again. Manakutarisa 2030 aita anenge achipo. That will be 5 more years. So the future prospects of you enjoying anything from Zimbabwe, they are zero now. Apasina those prospects. And murikona zvakunzwisa tsitsi. Zvakunzwisa tsitsi. Injini yanoka inonzi Zimbabwe. Nyika yamira. Vatasa mafarmers zvatachitaura zve. Vorima ne $1,000 votengesa wopuwa $200. Saka chawakashandira gore rese chii? Uzvibvunze. Chii chandakashandira? Unorima ne $1,000 wonotengesa wopuwa ma-RTGS anokwana $200. Hapana chawashandira gore rese. It's a wasted labor, wasted everything. Andimona. Industry yedu, it needs a revival. Atisina industry. Atichina. Saka you find are the things that you guys must take into consideration. Freedom does not come on a silver platter. It's not too easy to attain freedom. It requires sacrifice. Don't want to shepherd, you sacrifice the Lord. We must sacrifice. I haven't done it. I'm still to sacrifice. Because nothing has been gained from all the things that we did. And we have been absorbed by poverty. A simple point that every Zimbabwean must consider is to sacrifice. Sacrifice is something that is needed at the moment. If we don't sacrifice, then that's it. 2030 varikutaura iyai vanenge vachipo vachiburitsa mweya chete. Vanenge vachiburitsa mweya bhobho vakagara. They've turned my offices of government into brothels. They've turned everything into brothels. Tuvana tuchabuswa imomo. Tuvana. Anditi mona. And I do agree with you, but after exposed how ZANU-PF rigging the elections, what did we do as Zimbabweans after our leaders? Instead, Ngoma Justin, they were summoned with our guys. Shepherd Yuda akaratidza nyika yese kuti tabama elections. Saka kuna kwatiri kuenda zvinani muye mugara apa. Mogeni yo panopera 5 years dzako tokupa imba. Iwo tichakupa minister unongochiora mari uchaita sei ngatigadzire nyika. ZANU-PF kuti irambe kuti election takawina fair zvakanetsa. You understand? Saka aims and objectives dzedu dzatakafomera MDC kubva 2000 kusvika nhasi, we haven't attained anything. We haven't attained anything. If you look at what I was doing here, it's just highlighting certain things that you guys must understand. Some developments which were never fulfilled that could have brought our country to a better level economically in the region. And I'm told ED has postponed all ribbon cutting activities for this week due to the Malawi opposition case. Pakaipa. He's panicking. ZANU-PF is fighting for Malawi and we don't know why. And in the morning. Sagamon that guys for today. Chirega indipedze. Chirega indipedze wakomana. Tingazoramba tichitaura. I know kuna vanonoka kuuya, but next time kasirai tizokurukura naye. Saka ndonyaya tikutaura kuti zvakanaka zvakada hanzimba dhiriora, and I think it's no longer for the leaders but us and me, like what Ngoma Yuda did. He did exactly. Ngoma John Zikomo John. So what we are saying, Ngoma John, how are you? So what we are saying, Zutarana Ngoma Sham, it's no longer about leadership. It's no longer about looking to other people to liberate us. Rukona murume mkuru akaita senini ndikutarisira Chamisa kuti andiliberate. Mdhara akaita seni ane vana vanoda kudyawo. Ndodawo musha wokugara, ndodawo purazi pekugara pekurimawo. Ndikutarisira Chamisa kuti aite rambo. Atore pfuti apinde muroad. Orovana nemasoja eZimbabwe achiputitsana apedzapo ovakurira obva ati hey, rambo. Sylvester Stallone akaudza Arnold Schwarzenegger akati mdhara mafunga kuita Florida governor zvikanzi akusikwe kweRobocop kwakwama kuenda uko kupolitics kureality. Akuna chiroboko ine mudhara ndaingoti kana America ine munhu akaita Arnold Schwarzenegger anopfeka chiroboko chechi achienda achirowa masoja esaya. Kondi umwe kumoendesa kuAfghanistan ari one unorova maAfghanistan esaya. Akaudzwa zvikanzi hey, fiction. Kwamakuenda kune reality. So let's not expect President Chamisa to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, because this is a collective issue where you and me must have an input to say, guys, Twitter say 2023 is our last hope. Mwana akaberekwa 1980 panosvika 2023 anenge ane patakasvika 2000 aive ne20 handiti tikati anenge ane ezinozvi ane 40 something plus 5 more years anenge ane 47 years. That means mwana akazvarwa 1980 anenge asina kubva amboshanda paanosvika 48-49 years pa 2023. The Malawi story is just ZANU-PF posturing, positioning for 2020. That's true. And we must fight the Malawi issue to the last. And it on. Saka ndo pashata varume. 2023 is the last hope for those who were born in 1980 to find solace in our country. If you fail 2023, zvatopera. Anenge amakuva anenge akuverengwa. Iri ndira Shepherd Yuda, born 1980. Iri ndira Ningi, born. Ukabvunza cause of death, uyo akafa nenzara, uyo akarumwa nenyoka achichera mbeva, uyo akanyura mvura achibata hove. Zvatopera. That's it. We are dead and buried. We are gone. Ivo vanenge vangosara zvavari kuita izvozvi. Vari kunganza upfumi hwevana vavo. Vana vavo will never be paupers again. Ndo vamunenge muchimhanyira murodhi mukaona maRange Rover mbinga imotokari dzavo. Ndakazonzwa nemwe munhu anzi wafanira vana java mofara zvinhu zvavo kana vana imotokari dzembinga vana vavo vaya. Mbinga vachiita mari. Ndaona imwe vhidhiyo yemwana waPhilip Chiyangwa akatakura tuhuni so. Ndikati ndidzo mbinga dzeZimbabwe. Handiti maona. So your last chance is perhaps 2023. You'll be around 40 something years, 47 years or 48 years, I think. This is 2021, which is we're about 42 years now, or 41 years. So you'll be about 45 years by 2023. Then Zatovarana. If you fail, that's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we would love for this to end without violence. A nation born in violence is to make peace. I watched a skit today with Windy Murungu telling his fellow Zimbabweans. I think, Mr. Pams, when we are subjected to a lot of violence, like what we have been subjected by ZANU-PF to, we have to meet at a certain point where we defend ourselves. It's not, we are not going to take it violently, but people need to be assured that they will be protected if they are attacked by whoever. You understand? And it's most of us a chance. Pakaipa serobi ndo chokwadi. Tachena kwese. Uchigera so nongochiseka wega kuti hey ndo kwandasvika uku. Tasikabuzonja svika uku nogu. Marriage yaitaurwa nenyumpana chekumasvingo kazi marriage yaipa tafamba. Handiti maona. Dai tsoka dzaipera kadai takaiswa speedometer inoridha mileage yekurarama kwatakafamba. Wainyatsoona wega kuti ndafamba. Handiti maona. Saka ladies and gentlemen, chiregai ndirove pasi mwana wamubrandaya. Regai ndirove pasi. Mwana wamubrandaya. Brandaya. This is my Brandaya. Ndaona sekuru wangu wainzi Amateo. Ndakamboitaura nyaya. Sekuru wangu baba vamai vangu inini vaibva kuMozambique. Saka vari kuMozambique vakataka hondo yandiriya kuMozambique. Hondo yandiriya kuma-70s yayi. 60s, 70s I think. Ma-60s. Hondo yandiriya yekuMozambique. Hondo yandiriya yaitika kuMozambique pamusha pasekuru vangu ini baba vamai vangu. Pakaparadzwa vanhu vakawanda vakafa. Vanhu vakawanda. As I missed the presentation, I'll upload it pa YouTube, bless. Vanhu vakawanda vakafa pamusha pasekuru vangu inini. Ndobva vatiza. Saka kutiza kwavakaita kuMozambique, vakatiza nedzimwe hama dzavo. Vakatiza nasekuru hanzvadzi yamai. Hanzvadzi yamai vacho vainzi Amateo. Sekuru vangu vainzi Amateo. Ndakavaona ivava Amateo vacho. Vatiza ndobva vagara vakaenda kunotsvaga musha kwaChief Katerere kunyanga uko. Saka vaishandisa seneme yekuti D'Souza vachitiza kubva kunyika kwavo kuMozambique. Saka vapinda vapinda munyanga vakabva vakunzi vanhu vaunza chiya vakubvunzwa payo ndobva vataura kuti chaunza chichi vachitaura payo munoerei vaona kuti tikatoera mhofu hatipuwane nzvimbo vakati toera mhizha vana vatopuwa pekugara vototemerwa munda votogara paya saka vakabva vaona kuti hatina chekubata pamusha tavaka ndobva vabva sekuru vangu vachifamba nenyika vachitsvaga basa vakasvika paodzi ndobva vakatanga kushanda paodzi ndobva vasangana nemusikana wainzi Rodha mwana wekwamusha uko anonzi Rodha Zvikasi vasangana paya ndokudanana nemwana wekwamusha vana musha vanga vatizawo kwavo kuchimanimani vakugara mubocha umo ndokunosangana paya ndokuroorwa Rodha ndokuroorana vasangana uyo atizawo kwake uyo atizawo kwake zvasangana mumaodzi zvaroorana saka vakazouya vakugara kuHarare nemurungu wavaishandira ainzi Stevenson aigara kuna Queensway saka ndopandakasvika gore ratakasvika gore rakatsva matenga rakaputika matenga kuma79 kwevo patakasvika kumuHarare kuna airport road kuna Queensway pamurungu ainzi Stevenson ndopavaishanda sekuru vakauya Mateo ndakavaona Mateo vauya paya sekuru ndobva vati Flora aidza mai yangu Flora zvasekuru mai yangu akabva kuchipatara kumakumbe hospital kuTB hospital saka vanga vasati vanyatsosimba miri wavo bva vadanwa nasekuru wavo Flora anzi sekuru zvanzi mabranda inini manje naive inini sisi vangu mukuru ainzi Angelina Nyemu ndisati 3 chete zvikanzi mabranda aya kwaya kana mai zvanzi vadiko mabranda yangu sekuru baba vacho ari kupi anzi vari kuhurunge ukaroi zikanzi takura mabranda aya ndanakumusha kwavo andiona ipapo rozati uzakana muri vadiki munonga musingazive effect yazvo kana zvinhu zviri kunzi branda yazvi handaimboziva ndopatakati mudhara uiko takazoziva takura kuti oraiti vosekuru vangu vakazoita bofu vakazoroora umwe mukadzi wavakaroora handifunge kuti vakaita mhuri kana vakaita mhuri I don't know ndobva vazongoita bofu saka mukadzi wavo vakaroora akabva vaenda naye kumusha kwavo nanhasi hatomboziva dzakanofira kupi sekuru dzangu idzodzo dzati mabranda Flora mabranda saka guys regai ndiende nini mbranda asi nyaya ndakuudza ibatei mazimba so for tonight good night enjoy your night we meet tomorrow good night ndazoenda sina kuimba dhiri hora iro vanogara mudhiriwo dhiri hora rembanje vanogara mudhiriwo vakomana vanogara mudhiriwo dhiri hora rembanje vanogara mudhiriwo usatambe navo vanogara mudhiriwo dhiri hora rembanje vanogara mudhiriwo dhiri hora vakomana good night dhiri hora rembanje vanogara mudhiriwo dhiri hora iro vanogara mudhiriwo dhiri hora rembanje vanogara mudhiriwo vakomana vanogara mudhiriwo dhiri hora rembanje vanogara mudhiriwo usatambe navo ndokataimba kana zvarema saka ndoti good night guys musare zvakanaka naye we meet tomorrow good night